Hi, Lori.
Hello.
So this is completely off the cuff.
Hmm.
We haven't planned anything. We
No,
never do.
no.
But I thought we'd take this time to really talk about what people might be feeling right now. I feel like the emotions are running pretty high. Things are pretty intensified right now. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, and also what also there's we're not able to suppress emotions anymore. So it feels like we are boiling. The top is about to pop off
Mhm.
the pot,
Like the
right?
is about to pop off.
Yeah, because we're so listen, everything that we're experiencing right now is new and it's unfamiliar territory and we don't know how to do it and we're uncomfortable. And so the programmed way of being as a human is we suppress and we control what emotions we're going to give attention to. We control what behaviors we're going to give attention to. We control the beliefs that we fall down in the rabbit hole. So we have a lot of illusionary control around our lives. And what's happening is that when you start detaching or pulling back away from the matrix or away from this programming, you start going inward, which is what we're all being asked to do right now. You start to realize that you cannot control you can't control who you are. You know what you can't control who you actually are. You can't deny what you're feeling. You can't deny your truths. You
Mm.
can't deny your behavior. You can't deny that you don't like your husband anymore or your wife. Like
Ooh.
when you coming in, you can't deny you anymore. And so we're trying to fight this internal awakening that's happening where we're like, "Oh my God, wait a second." And now we're having to figure out how to be who we've always been,
Oh my
that
God,
we've been
so good.
denied,
You hit the nail on the
right?
I feel like the universe right now is like our personal tailor, and it's wanting to make alterations. So we have
Yes.
to make little tweaks where in the past we would let things slide. We're like, I'll handle that later, failing to realize that we were moving out of integrity. So the reason why we're feeling so much right now and so much is coming to the surface is so that we can make those adjustments and so we can start living a life filled with integrity, honesty, and transparency. So you'll find people will all find right now that if we're not living in our authentic self as our authentic expression, things are going to blow up in our face because the universe is going to let you know, it's going to notify you like a text message when you're not honoring yourself, when you're not living in your full integrity. The best way to be a great teacher to everyone around us, because everyone is a teacher, is to be transparent and to live with integrity. So maybe you've been giving people too much of the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you've been putting yourself last. Maybe you haven't always spoken your truth. And now that's going to reveal itself because things have accelerated so much. Like, even with your example of relationships, like, you can't deny you anymore, or anything in life. You can't deny you. Even with that example, in the past, it's as if we still had time to kill.
Yes.
Like, I'll know I'll eventually get to this, but right now let me put it on a coat hanger. It's I'm not gonna wear it for a while. So I'll just keep hanging out and I won't focus on that. But we're being confronted by ourselves now. This is a time of reckoning. We're having to face ourselves and know that what we've always wanted, there was never anything wrong with it.
Right. I kept seeing like mirrors of ourselves popping up every single moment. Like everything you're doing, there's a mirror of your authentic truth. So let's say you're at work and you're having a conversation with a coworker and you're not quite telling the truth because you want to kind of fit in, you don't want to rock the boat. A mirror pops up of who you actually are, right? Every single time now. So you can no longer actually pretend any longer. You can't pretend in those conversations. You can't there's no more pretending. There's no more, and everything that is not of your resonance, everything that is not for your highest potential, everything that is not in highest alignment for you, like you said, is going to be given to you immediately. Immediately. You're gonna either feel it and you're not going to be able to deny it, or you're going to know it and you're not going to be able to forget what you saw. It's happening instantaneously. As energetic
There's
beings,
no more lag,
there's
because
no more lag.
in the past we were vibrating at a slower rate. So there was more of a lag, but now that we've raised the frequency of the entire planet, then we're being confronted with our shadow. And I find that if you have any moment where you betray yourself, if you go against your truth, you're going to feel sick to your stomach. Because what you're doing is you're inviting poison into your body, you're injecting venom in your body by going against your truth, and you're not going to feel right. So it's that venom is going to have to get dispelled. It has to, because everything's out in the light now, everything's out in the open. So anytime you betray your truth to appease another person, well, you're going to feel what that costs you. You're going to feel how much that costs. And then you're going to have to bring the balance sheet back to zero by being more honest with people. Like, let's say you want to go to the movies. No, let's say a friend of yours wants to go to the movies and you don't want to, but you accept, but you didn't want to. You're going to feel sick to your stomach. And then the universe is going to make you eject that venom out of your body and balance out that balancing sheet.
Yeah, people are going to start to finally experience what it's like to live energetically, meaning I can't any longer convince myself that this friendship feels right. Someone's going to come visit you, right? And they're going to stay at your house and they're a friend of yours for like 15 years. And you're like, oh my God, there's no more resonance. I can't be around this person. And you're now not going to be able to pretend. You're not going to be able to act. You're going to have to face the fact that you're an energetic human and you strictly follow the energetics of how you're feeling, which is your resonance, which is your authenticity, which is your alignment, which is your sovereignty. We don't have choice anymore around that. Like we always have choice, but you can't choose your resonance. You can't choose your sovereignty. You can't choose your alignment. There's no such thing. You can argue it. You can have temper tantrums around it, okay? But you can't deny your absolute resonance and who you are. And so that's what I feel a lot of humans are trying to like, wait a second, I've been playing a game for so long. It's worked so well. I've gotten along with all these people. And yourself is saying, yeah, but you never really liked them. You
Mm.
were lying, right? And you're like, holy cow, wait a second. Who am I? What do I like? What do I want? And really quickly,
Mm.
this is a microcosm of what's happening in the macrocosm world right now, right? If we don't stand up for our absolute truths and what we know to be right, we're going to be drinking a lot of freaking poison. We're going to find ourselves with venom inside of us, caged somewhere, right? Because we didn't speak, because we didn't follow the energetic resonance. This is why this is so important, because we are learning how to be able to navigate what's happening in the world through an energetic lens, not a logic lens and a mind lens. Because if you actually follow the resonance, you'll know immediately something's off. The radar is like, no, 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 something's off, you know?
You can't. We're basically no longer in a position to neglect our truest frequency. It's kind of like a baby. If you neglect the baby's gonna cry. So if you neglect your truest frequency is gonna cry. Like, come back over here. I am you. You need to start being you. And the other thing that was coming to mind as you were talking is we've been so preoccupied playing roles
Yep.
that aren't really the truth of who we are.
Mm-mm.
We've been playing a role, and if we don't play that role, then people get mad at us. So that's all part of an illusionary, fake, artificial reality. And we're signing out of that now. We're signing off. Like, hey, I'm not here for this anymore. I'm not available to be a role for you anymore. But we can't blame people because we're the one who created the monster, but we won't be able to do it simply because the body is going to spit it out. The
Yeah.
body won't be able to stand not living in integrity. It's not going to, because if you think about it, when you're open and you're living in integrity, you become a mirror for others. But when you're being a role, you're just enabling or condoning other people to play a role. So you guys are all part of a play, but you forgot that you're actually not a character in the play.
Right.
You got
Right.
lost in the play.
Yeah, you're like feeding the you're either consciously or unconsciously feeding the role of the other person, right? So you're playing a role and you're feeding the other person's role, and then it's these two roles playing back and forth, right? And it's this cyclical
Disempower-
cycle, and it's not who we actually are. Think about how many relationships you have. Is it absolute authenticity? Is it absolute, integrity? Is it absolute truth? Is it absolutely all of who you are? Probably not, right? Because we skirt around things. We know how to play the game out there, right? But that's not gonna work as we start evolving. It's not gonna work as we start, awakening. It's not gonna work because 'cause you're not gonna be able to not follow that.
You want to know why? Because it's contradictory. We are trying to break a system that is corrupt. But if we feed into disempowerment, we are actually feeding those systems. So we say we want one thing, but we do another. And so anytime there's a contradiction or a counterintuition, we're going to have to look at that now and give ourselves that adjustment because it doesn't make sense. It's self sabotaging, it's self destructive. If you want something, lean into it and become it. Don't feed into the disempowerment. Don't feed into all that manipulation. Because when you're playing a role and you're just smiling and you're going along with whatever that person wants you to go along with, you're really just manipulating them. And you're
Yeah,
playing yourself. You're playing
yeah.
yourself like a fiddle.
Again, it's a microcosm of the macrocosm of what we're doing right now.
Yes.
We've been manipulated and mind controlled, and we've been like, held on like strings and told what to do. And so we unconsciously, in programmed states and roles, have been doing that in our entire life. And how are we supposed to get out of all of this? By doing exactly what you said, literally no longer participating in those roles, breaking those roles, coming back to sovereignty.
By realizing that we are the system we are trying to bust out of.
Right.
We are the system that we're trying to break out of. But I do want to say one more thing because we have like 2 more minutes.
Shoot,
And
that's
you
really
can, I
powerful.
know, and then you can finish off. What I want to say is if you're going through a lot right now, don't despair. Because as awful and uncomfortable as it might be, it's actually happening for your highest good. Meaning the universe is doing you a solid, it's wanting you to take a look at your life, to examine what you've been playing into and what role you've been playing as, so that you can dismantle that because it's not serving you anymore. It's actually making you sick. But before, you didn't know it was making you sick. Before, when you didn't tell your husband what was on your mind because you were so scared of him and you had to skate on thin ice, you didn't know that that was making you sick. Now you're becoming aware of the fact that that's making you sick. How cool is that? Like we're being asked to bridge the gap so that we can become ourselves. And when we are our true self, we are in the highest frequency, and the highest frequencies are void of corruption. So then those systems will naturally fizzle. They'll all
Yes.
dismantle.
Yes. Yes. It's all about like because we're always trying to figure out what can we do? How can we navigate this collective craziness that we're going through? And it's really about learning how we have been playing. We are that system right here. We're perpetuating that system just in our simple relationships. So the key is to recognize that everything that's coming up for you right now that is causing waves, that is uncomfortable, that creates dis-ease, whatever that is, it's an absolute gift because it is allowing you to literally unshackle, peel away, no longer be in an illusionary state of happiness and peace that has only created disease in the body of some sort, including stress, right? So allow yourself to refamiliarize yourself with who you
Five
are.
seconds.
Trust your resonance.
Trust your resonance. Be the
Trust your
antidote to your
resonance.
own inner self-destroyer.